Hello out there in YouTube
Hey.
land. I'm here with Jonathan Baylis. As you can see by his name there on the screen, it's So Buttons Comics, the most recent issue, So Buttons 15.
Oh, and you've got the shiny
I do
foil
have the
stamping.
shiny. Yeah, see it. Collectible. Great Barry Windsor Smith homage cover here.
Truly.
And before we start blathering on, you want to maybe tell people where they can find your work? Where's the easiest place for
Sure.
them to see it?
Very easy. For free, I would say, on Instagram, at So Buttons Comics. If we're visual now, right? So you could almost see the name there, except I spell comics with CCS. So Buttons Comics on Instagram. And then if you go to sobuttons.com, that's just my website where you can just buy any issue that I have in print right now. But for free, I'm posting almost every week, almost like a page at a time, like with the swipe story, one panel at a time. So you could read, I think I have like almost 12 issues up there now for free if that's how you want to read a comic by a swipe story on Instagram.
Well, for anyone who's interested in autobio, small press comics, sampling artists. I mean, I just talked to Jonathan. We did an interview for the next issue of Canon, shameless plug. And he's worked with 70 artists at this point. I mean, it's a great way to find new people, as well as people that you've probably heard of, like Noah Van Sciver, guys like that. But I mean, there are tons of names there I didn't recognize, and some really beautiful work and great styles from people. So
yeah, I'm super lucky. I've really worked with some phenomenal artists. That is for sure.
Yeah. So we're just gonna have a little brief live stream here. Jonathan, like myself, is a guy who thinks too much about comics and
way too much
issues surrounding comics, and so we'll just be self-serving right off the top.
Oh yeah, what do we got?
Die with Your Mask.
Oh my God,
number 3. So
yeah.
The top 100 issue. If you're familiar with this channel at all, you've seen all the conversation I did with all the list makers. Obviously, lists are meant to be argued about and disagreed with and complained about. That's why you make a list, so that other people can give feedback. So, any thoughts, Jonathan? I know you.
Well, I feel like we on the side we already had a thing. Like I think like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing should have been like top 10. Easy. I mean, of course, everyone like Watchmen's going to be number 1. That's like the low hanging fruit. But I mean, what he did to an existing property like that, with Swamp Thing. I'll tell you my story with Swamp Thing, and maybe even I did a very brief So Buttons about it, like a 2-pager. I was at camp. So the 1 year I was ever at a sleepaway camp, my grandmother knew I liked comics, like just took a chunk of comics off of a rack and sent them to me. And it was like 9 Archies and an Alan Moore Swamp Thing. and it was the one where has this amazing Stephen Bissett cover where the Swamp Thing, he's like holding up the skeleton of Alec Holland. And he basically realizes that he is not Alec Holland, that he, and so he comes to take the skeleton to bury Alec Holland. And that one the cover was Bissett, but the inside was not Bissett. It was Sean McManus. McManus, and who's a good friend with Scott Dunbier. And to connect with this other thing we were talking about, I have a page. I bought a page of that issue, so I have an original art page from my favorite Swamp Thing issue. I think you also have in that top 100 John Byrne's Fantastic Four. Like my one of my favorite issues ever is it's like there was that whole big Galactus storyline people like to talk about, but then the issue after is called like Childhood's End, and it's where like at the last page of the issue before, I don't know, he's watching like Leave It to Beaver for some reason in 1984, and he hears on the thing like, "Why don't you grow up?" Like as he's using his powers to like solve a Rubik's cube, and Herbie's there, and like Herbie explodes, because I guess Byrne hated Herbie. And but then the next issue is Franklin Richards is an adult, and he just kicks the ass of everybody in in the Fantastic Four until Sue looks into his eyes and realizes it's Franklin, and he's like, "Mommy," and then he turns back into a baby. The Thing, who would like he drew him like Thing in the Fantastic Four #1, where it's sort of like it's not quite as rocky. It's more like almost bubbly rocky, but then it just became like, oh no, now it's the classic Joe Sinnott rocks thing. And yeah, I just love that issue. But I'm trying to think. I feel like I probably wrote down a couple things, but it was a phenomenal list. I mean, there were a lot of things maybe I would move above other ones. I wonder, do I have that thing? Hold on, like right behind. Do I have it here behind my bed, or is it in my? Hold on, I know exactly where it is. Hold on, just 1 second. All right, here we go. I thought it was really interesting that that Ryan Carey, I feel like he almost exclusively wrote like every Jack Kirby that isn't like the Fantastic Four. He's like just want to put everything. And it's so funny because like he likes, for the most part, that guy likes to write about domino books. He's like so artsy.
He told me once he said, "I've spilled more digital ink writing about Kirby," and Captain Victory, which he wrote about for this issue. Yeah, that's his favorite Kirby, which is not something anybody else would say.
Yeah, I think I recently acquired all the issues, and I think there's like an annual even. So I plan to I need to find a moment to really concentrate it, because I think that's the thing about like I didn't love the New World stuff because it's like I think when I got that stuff I was like living in London, and I went to every single comic book store in London. I was just getting all kinds of stuff, and I finally got all the New World, and I was like, what is this? I'm like, Kirby, I didn't understand the writing at the time as a 21-year-old, and I bet you now I would like appreciate it in a different way. But who loved it in 2 seconds was my kid. Like at age 5, I had got all the omnibuses of New World. My kid just ate it up. Absolutely loves it. Let's see. Let's look at your list here.
Yeah, please.
It's all good. I mean, it's all good. The fact that All-Star Superman is in the top 10, that is correct, because it's the best Superman story ever written. I mean, Miracle Man. Oh no, you're wrong. And then, well, no, because you like the Alan Moore one, right? You like the Alan Moore, Kurt Swan.
I put Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. I put that was my #1 on my list.
There's something I want to say there's something very Alan Moore about it, right? Like if he's not raping somebody, he's like killing a fucking dog, right? I mean, it's just like come on, man. He
dies a noble death.
Sure he does. Does he like eat the parasite or something? I forget what it was, but
something like that.
In the jugular of the parasite. Yeah, that's a Superman comic. What I like about Grant Morrison, it's a Superman comic. Like Alan Moore's like, how can I turn Superman into Rorschach? For 2 issues.
That's not true. I like All-Star Superman, for the record. I like it. It was on my list.
That's great.
But I was surprised it was that high.
Yeah. Oh, really? When I was working for USA Network, I had Tom Scioli do a cover of So Buttons, and I did the small press section at San Diego, which I don't think I'm ever going to do again. Like that is such a crazy marathon to do the San Diego Comic-Con. And I met this guy who was selling All-Star Superman pages for it was probably, to me at the time, felt expensive, but now it was like a couple $100 or something like that. And I have an All-Star Superman page. Awesome. So I know a lot of this stuff is like, I have a page, like even like I love that Miracle Man made the top 10, because that's absolutely one of my favorite all-time books. So I have like 2, it's not really a double page spread, but they are adjacent pages. That's like, I don't know, probably the first appearance of Miracle Woman. Who cares? But John Toddleben and the inking. Toddleben's inking is just it's just like, it's so gorgeous. It's like looking at like a Bernie Wrightson, it's just so beautiful. And then I have a Rick Veitch page from the birth issue. And it's just a really funny page where like like his wife Liz is in a car and he's flying among flamingos. It was just after like some battle with Dr. Gargunza or something like that, and she's like, "What happened to Gargunza?" And he just goes, threw him at a planet." I just really like that. Threw him at a planet. And I have a page from the Neil Gaiman run, but like I bought it before the Gaiman controversy, and now I feel slightly differently.
Yeah.
But it was one of my all-time favorite issues where Andy Warhol like replicates himself like 100 times. And I'm a New Yorker guy, like lived in downtown New York for a while. So like I like Warhol and all that stuff. Let's see what else we got here. I mean, like it's just a fantastic. I was at my company party yesterday. We were talking about how she had a Doonesbury. It's a 20-year-old and had a Doonesbury tattoo on her arm, and I was like, "How do you get a Doonesbury tattoo?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have an older brother." And I'm like, "All right, But then she was talking about, what I'm reading right now? Animal Man. I never hear anyone talking to me about Animal Man.
Yeah,
I'm like, good for you. I was like, you're cool. You get to stay employed. I thought it was a fantastic list. There's not a lot to argue. It's just always like, what is, like, how does Nexus get there above another thing? I don't know. Like, what? Nexus, that's literally one I could never get into it. I think Steve Rude's art is beautiful. I feel like I've tried to read some random things and maybe I'm supposed to read it from issue 1, or maybe like by the time I was like too old and discovering it, I'm like, I don't want to read this superhero thing. I don't know, but like that was never one. Everyone, let's see. I just love going through the list, just seeing the names. Herbie, that was like a period of time where everyone was like creaming over these Herbie comics, right? What is this thing? He's like a UFO or something. Like I don't even know. But I'm just like, every once in a while, people just go crazy. They're like, oh, what is that character? Stardust. Like, oh, what genius? Yeah. And I was like, really? Like,
yeah.
I just like.
I love Herbie, but yes, the Fletcher Hank stuff, I've never quite understood the.
Yeah, all of a sudden Gary Groth goes, I like it, and then like 100 people go, yes, yes, Gary.
Well, I think they were running weren't they running some of those in Raw?
You might be right. So right, you got to blame Artie. Blame that Artie for that nonsense.
At least that wing. Yeah.
I'll give him Crazy Cat, but but even that, I'm like, I get that it's innovative, but like, I don't know. Can you read 100 Crazy Cat strips in a row? Can you?
It's not really easy. No.
I would rather read Popeye any day. The Cigar Popeye is phenomenal. Phenomenal. But yeah, no, this is a great list. Zenith by Grant Morrison and Steve Yowell. You ever see, they did a thing, I bet you it was even in that same thing. It was a magazine format where I think that came out, and he did a book or a storyline, because it was an anthology. I think it only lasted 4 issues, but it was like The New Adventures of Hitler.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And like, I was very lucky, like, because like I started to really nerd out with some of this indie stuff when eBay had like just started. So like I was able to just gather, like I got a complete collection of Raw, like one by one, or like all the, like of Mazzucchelli's rubber blankets, just because like no one else was on eBay, but like there were comic nerds that wanted to sell their stuff. And so I was just super lucky with this stuff. I mean, that's how I got all of the Miracle Mans. Yeah. Oh, God, I wonder if I know I wrote it. Oh, wait a second. Is it on here? Let me just see if it's on my computer. If I wrote Colin, did I have a document that was called Colin or Canon? Because I know I wrote like one. Oh, Canon Magazine Conversation. Sure enough. All right. Here we go. What did I write down? Oh, I just wrote talk about. No, you know what I did? Here's what. Talk about comics. Talk comics to Colin. No, you know what I wrote down? Because what happened was, so you and I had a little back and forth on Ryan Carey's Patreon page, where like you were like criticizing like Eisner for some reason, and I was saying like, because I think we were just saying like because everyone wants to say that's the first graphic novel, but I feel like you said it in a certain spirited tone through the intertubes that you really took an issue. And so here's what I want to here's where I want to start. So after Dennis Kitchen, he sent me a bunch of undergrounds. I decided I'm going to do an underground issue of So Buttons. And but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 100 underground comics. I'm going to put them in chronological order, and I'm going to read them in chronological order so the underground unfolds in front of me like an insane person. Like this is what comics people do. And but I wound up getting these, like learning a little bit of the history, where I was getting like Gothic Blimp Works, which was a tabloid that had Crumb and Spain and a lot of those guys. And in San Francisco, you had Yellow Dog Comics. And so you would say that those kind of things that were in tabloids, or maybe Kurtzman was publishing, Skip Williamson in Help magazine or Trump magazine, whichever one of those, like you would go, those are not underground comiks. Or you would have Frank Stack, who did The New Adventures of Jesus, and Shelton, Gilbert Shelton, of also in Texas, printed up 50 copies, stapled to Xerox at the school, and some people go, well, that's the first underground. And so for me, if I was on some panel somewhere, I would just go, look, here's the deal. Zap #1 is the first underground comic book. It is the way that it is printed, the way that it is stapled, the way that it is the same size as other comic books. That's your first comic. All this other stuff, they may have been first, because Vaughn Bodie had something first. Jack Jackson had something first. There were like 3 or 4 proto, Joel Beck with Lenny from Laredo. These were things that came before Zap #1, but you wouldn't call them the first comic because they don't resemble what a comic book is. So you go Zap's #1, everything else is proto underground, all that stuff. So now let's go back. Oh no, you want to talk underground, or you want to talk Eisner?
No, I'll do both.
Okay.
I don't agree with that opinion, though. I do get how your logic gets you there.
It's a good framing. It's logical.
It's a framing. It's the problem is it's reductive, because it says that there's only one way a comic book can look, and that's not true. Like the First Adventures of Jesus is clearly an underground comic. It's not
a strip that was in a school newspaper that got collected. I mean, you might as well call Funnies #1, Motion Picture Funnies #1, like.
Generally, the first comic book is considered to be Famous Funnies #1, a collection.
Famous Funny #1, yeah.
But the argument about Eisner here, I get. This is where you're leading. You're leading to A Contract with God is first because it's the first one that we think of. However, let's go to the evidence.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's see.
Milt Gross, published as He Done Her Wrong. In the 30s.
Well, all right, and now here's why I'm going to say no to you. I'm going to say no to you because I could do the same thing. Like here I am writing of my Japanese internment because my grandmother was in a Japanese internment camp in Canada. Here's this.
Yes,
right?
There you go.
Right? But you open it up and it's like what you just saw. There's a picture, there's some text. Yeah. I'm saying right now, I want word balloons.
Here's the thing, though. Word balloons don't make the comic, though.
Yes, they do. That's what that's my argument.
Kyle Baker's Why I Hate Saturn.
But that's different. That's post Eisner. But here's another one, The Cage, right? Like here's another one.
Oh, you're just talking around it.
Same thing.
I know.
I'm saying those
How about these? Those
are proto.
This is 2. There are 4 of these published by Dell. They are comic books in book form. They suck. But
it's got that nice Matt Baker art.
Yes. Yeah. But these are, 150, 200 page comic books aimed towards an adult reader.
Yes. But they failed. They failed. So
Citizen Kane failed.
Proto.
Citizen Kane failed.
But Citizen Kane, but Citizen Kane is a movie. So you like that's a movie.
You're just shifting goalposts here.
No, not really. No, not really.
Yes.
Because what I'm saying is Contract with God gave you a framework of what pretty much anybody would go, that's a graphic novel. Everything Contract with God after. All that stuff before, you could look at it and you go,
I would argue the opposite. I mean, A Contract with God is a collection of 4 short stories, and that's a valid novelistic setup. There are other story cycles that are considered novels, but something like this has a beginning, a middle, and end.
But it just didn't. No one looks at that and goes, "That's what graphic novels look like today." And I'm being reductive. I am being reductive. Like
yes,
that all graphic novels have to have word bubbles or word balloons, like whatever. Like, but I think if you want to make an argument as like what is the regular thing, like what is a graphic novel? I think Contract with God is a graphic novel in a way that it rhymes with lust is not.
I mean, but don't you?
Like, I understand why it's
all you're doing is creating categories that only one book will fit in. I mean, and to me, this is the perfect example of how Eisner's self-propagandizing has successfully set himself up as the father of the graphic novel, a term he didn't coin, a format he didn't create.
Well, wait, what else was called graphic novel before that? Like literally printed on the book graphic novel. Like I think he did kind of coin it.
Well, he didn't coin the term. The term was coined in the 60s by
what? On which graphic novel?
Oh no, it was coined in a fanzine of people talking about.
See, I'm saying like this was,
But he didn't make the term, and also the term sucks. We should also talk about the fact.
I know
we're stuck with it now. We're stuck with it, but it's a shitty term.
I know, and there's nothing else. There's nothing else to call these things except comics, and like as soon as you say comics, people just go, "Oi."
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it not funny? But I don't know.
Here's what I'll give Eisner credit for is that. And I'm gonna give him I'm gonna insult him while I do it, and I don't mean
that's fine.
I don't mean to be shitty about it, but I will say that he had literary pretensions in a way that you couldn't argue for this. You could argue it for, you could argue it for Tantrum. You could argue it for some of these other books that they were making things for adults and they were meant to be read by adults. And I don't think Eisner's adult graphic novels are great. I'm trying to be nice here.
No, that's fine. I think at a minimum, they're good. Some of them are very good, but I also think like, I'm a Jew from New York, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so like sure. there's a thing there. And certainly, when I was a kid, we had Mort Walker owned a cartoon museum in Portchester, New York. And like, I lived one town over. And so, like I went to an Eisner retrospective that was there. Probably Dennis Kitchen even produced or curated or something. And so I'm inclined to like and appreciate Eisner. When I was working at Topps, the first time I ever went to San Diego Comic-Con, I worked there for 2 years. I was in some hotel. I think it might have been called the Westgate. And I was like, this was 1996. And I was in an elevator. It was like with my boss. And it was like Will Eisner and Mark Hamill. And I was just like, what the fuck is my life right now? Like
that's awesome.
And years later, I named my kid Lucas. But I don't know, I look at Tantrum and I go like, Tantrum, it reminds me of the comic strip format that I would see Pfeiffer in every week in the Village Voice when I was in college. So, I do, it's funny. I do parse these things in weird ways where I go like, like anything you show me pre Contract with God, I just kind of go, no. I go proto. But like after Contract with God, everyone was doing that kind of thing. And I think that's the same thing with Zap. Once he did Zap, everyone was doing that kind of comic book. And I just think that's why you can give it that. You can argue that there were other comics before that, but I think, a tradition was launched really with Contract with God. And that's why I'm fine with it. But I can understand why people, are critical of Eisner for a lot of different reasons,
Sure.
but I don't think he should be like, I don't know, erased from history or smudged.
No.
Like I think he's super important. Like I remember like I thought for 2 seconds, like would I try to actually draw So Buttons comics? And I absolutely cannot. But I read the I think it was Sequential Art, right? Was that book like the guide to sequential art or whatever it was? And like that's like important and useful, I think,
Sure.
for people, certainly more than like how to draw manga like everybody else.
Right.
A book I just bought my son.
Yeah, the Ryan Carey post you were talking about was him talking about the Mount Rushmore of comics, of comic books.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, right.
That's where I made that comment. And I argue Eisner, for me, it's Kirby, Kurtzman, Barks, and Eisner. Those are, I think everything comes out of those four.
Right.
Even not to say
you don't have Crumb on there.
Because I think Crumb comes out of Kurtzman and Barks. He's derived from those two. Even though I personally 100%. He'd be my favorite of all of those names, but he's derived from the other. I think those Kirby, Kurtzman, Barks, and Eisner, it pretty much gets you the DNA of everybody.
Barks is another one that is like weirdly, like completely. I mean, it's not that he was like off my radar. Like when I was a kid and just starting to really get into comics as a teenager, I had a subscription to the Comics Buyer's Guide. Remember that? Maggie and Don Thompson, and like those people cream over Carl Barks like crazy, and I'm just like, I can't read this funny animal shit. I just cannot look at it. I buy it for my son. He likes it. Whatever. I can't, it's like a miracle I liked Bone, like,
Do you apply that to Mouse?
Mouse, you know what? Because it was always Mouse. I'm trying to remember how I even found Mouse the first time. If I found it in like the first like collection, or because I did find an issue of Raw on the street in Greenwich Village when I was in college, and I'm trying to remember. But like, there's something. But it's not. He's not like Hergé. Like he's not clean line.
No.
With his work, Artie, and so I don't consider it the same tradition as like, it's like the same reason like I hated Archie. Like my wife loves Archie. Like she even did a play that was sort of like, like one of those things that's like, what happens when you're Archie in his 20s or whatever, in Canada. But I couldn't, like my grandmother, she sent me Archies, but I read Swamp Thing, I don't know. There's just some reason, there's just some books I can't do. Like even today, like I before I was mentioning, like if I see one elf ear, I'm like out of there. I'm just like, I can't. I just can't. And that's all the kids like that right now. They're all like elf ears, manga inspired elf ears. And I'm just like, nope, can't do it. Cannot do it. Yeah. But the unfortunate thing about the Rushmore is just like, I don't know, is like the problem with America in general, right? Like it's just all going to be like 4 fucking white dudes, like, and like, I don't know. That's why.
To me, it isn't about what's like. I think people think about Mount Rushmore and they think it's the best,
Right.
But for me, I think of it as being like the 4 kind of founder. I obviously wasn't like that, but I see
parse those guys
type.
No, you can you could parse those guys where you go, well, like Washington, like he's a general and he made shit happen. Whereas like Lincoln, he was like a peacemaker, and Teddy Roosevelt, he's the maverick. So who's the maverick? Maybe that's Crumb, or I don't know. I mean, like you could do it that way. Or Jefferson, he's the writer. So then like who's the writer? Stan Lee, because he really wrote everything. So anyway, but yeah, I think like I don't know where I would start with a Rushmore, because I just almost fight, because it's sort of like, to me it's like, I don't know, it's almost sad. It's like, it's all just like, it's like, whatever, like I'm a Jew, so we all hate ourselves, it's like it's gonna be 4 Jews up there,
Yeah.
like, so I'm like,
Well, Ryan did his job. He got us.
Oh yeah, got us chatting. That's the job.
Yeah, it's the whole job.
That's the job. That is the job.
You have a life. You have something to go do.
I do have a life, but you know what? We got a couple. I got a solid 5. I got a solid 5 since I'm here, right? So, and now I'm on video.
All right, yeah. Let's talk some art for a minute.
So I just took my kid to the comic book store today. He wanted to get the new Spider-Man, but this is a concrete sketch, and I picked up the new concrete. He's doing concrete for the first time in 20 years. Paul Chadwick. So here's that page that I was talking about, where there's Franklin and Herbie, and he's looking at the cube, and he's like, "When are you going to grow up?" And he just destroys Herbie. It's fantastic. Yeah. But then over here is from the Childhood's End issue, and like it's just like Reed Richards just lying around, like Franklin kicked his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Oh yeah, so when I was at that Portchester Museum, it was all Marvel people there. So it was like Claremont and Walt Louise Simonson, and like Walt drew me a Beta Ray Bill.
Very nice.
Back then. And I did a convention in Kingston, New York, and I saw Walt, and so like I was, so we were chatting about that. I showed him a photo. Here's like a splash of the first comic I edited, that's Yannick Paquette drawing an alien and a Marine from Space Above and Beyond. I met, let's see. Oh yeah, this is some random Jaime Hernandez page from Mr. X that he did.
Beautiful. That's great.
Jaime, man. I did a story about how like I was at SPX and Jaime was coming by, and I wanted him to look at a book. Like I was like, look at this. It's got a Jay Lynch cover, Garbage Pail Kid, whatever. And he just took it and walked off. I was like, I want you to look at it, not steal from me, Jaime. I'm not making Love and Rockets money.
That's great.
I met Steve Dillon before he passed, and I love Preacher. Was like my favorite series of the 20s. I'm always scared like to reread it to see if it actually holds up. Like it's perfect for a 20-something, right? It's like for a 20-something who likes Quentin Tarantino or something.
That's right. Yeah.
This is one of my all-time favorite guys is Ted McKeever.
Oh, beautiful.
I'd love to be. That's from Eddie Curran. And what might be the last thing that Ted McKeever ever did that was on a comic book is he did. So in the back of every issue of So Buttons is a headshot. Ted McKeever did my headshot on a So Buttons, and then I made him quit because that was the saddest thing that he
was on his way out the door.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, it's all over. I'm on a mini comic." Let's see. What else? What else is here?
And here it is for those at home. Here's the Ted McKeever.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's So Buttons 8, right? Yeah. So it's funny because now I took that off show the cover. So the cover is me and Noah Van Sciver in a tribute to an American Splendor issue. He redrew himself when I reprinted the comic to be bald. So now the cover is Noah bald. And then I have on the flip side him. Yeah. That's so, oh my God. That's so funny. Oh, and so the new issue, right, is Machine Man, Barry Windsor Smith Machine Man. And that's so Barry Windsor Smith was inking over layouts by Herb Trimpe. And I met Linda Feet, who created the cat, Patsy Walker turned into a superhero. And Linda and Herb were divorced, but she had some Machine Man pages. and I begged her to buy one, and she said yes.
Very
So
nice.
I have a Machine Man page, and let's see what else. Oh yeah, so I said I worked with like Ed Piskor, but like one of the first indie things I ever bought was like Ed did a Harvey Picar panel, and he says shit, and I bought it because he said shit.
Yeah.
Here's that miracle, the Miracle Man, like double page. Like here's the one I love. I just love what he does with the window.
Yeah.
Right, just like the inking of the rain on a window. Just amazing. What else? Anything else in here? That's pretty good. That's a good folder. Don't rob me, people. So anyway, all right. I'm gonna take my kid to a swim class. It's like 87 degrees here, so it'd be good to throw him in the pool.
Very nice. Well, thank you for doing this talk with me, and hopefully we can
anytime
in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love, the New York Jew. That's what we do. That's
Right. All right.
All right, Colin. Will you take care? All right.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Ciao.